Fast and free Wi-Fi, complimentary hot breakfast, and free parking. Whether you're in town for work or play, our friendly staff will make you feel right at home. That's the Holiday Inn Express and Suites of Silver Springs. Proud sponsor of Friday night Marion County High School football on WOCA, The Source.
Who doesn't love heading out on the boat with a family, hitting the ATV trails with friends, or blazing new stretches of highway with riding buddies? Your toys are your ticket to outdoor fun. At the McDonald Allstate Agency, we get to know you and help make sure you have all the right coverages. Plus, when you bundle your coverage for your car and your home with your boat, motorcycle, RV, or more, you can save up to 30%. So call the McDonald Allstate Agency today at 622-2333 or stop by one of our 2 Ocala locations at Calla Hills or the Jasmine Square Plaza.
Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Savings vary.
Ocala Aviation now has opportunities for flight instructors.
Wait, hold on, Brad, is this correct? You're looking for instructors, not students?
Actually, we're looking for both.
Well, that's descriptive.
Well, I need flight instructors because we're now affiliated with a major university and can offer 4-year degrees. Plus, we're also approved to work directly with VA students.
Okay, so a degree in what, and what's a VA student?
Well, it's a bachelor's degree in aeronautics, which includes a commercial pilot's license, and there's financial aid available. By VA students, I mean veterans. They now have access to new benefits to pay for flight training.
Okay, so you have new opportunities for new students. What about the instructor side of it?
Well, with new students, we need more instructors.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
So, if anyone out there is a flight instructor, I want to encourage them to come see me. And if they're not an instructor but have their commercial license, we can help them become an instructor.
So they get their instructor license and have a job too.
Exactly.
So you got a lot going on. The VA, the college, and now hiring instructors and future instructors too.
Yep. So now can we get the commercial started?
Already ahead of you.
Call Brad to get your adventure started today at Ocala Aviation, 861-7484. The most trusted name in news, Fox News, every half hour, only on 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source.
All right, it is 8:30. Thank you for tuning in this Monday, November 2nd. And it is such an honor to introduce our next guest to you. He is somebody we've been following before he was even thinking, well, I guess he was thinking about running for the presidency. Dr. Ben Carson is on the phone, and we've been following him with great interest, and he will be in the Villages this afternoon at 4:30. For those of you who want to see him speak, he is signing a book that he has written called A More Perfect Union. If you're familiar with his book called One Nation, then you already know why he was catapulted into the limelight of the political field when the guy is a brain surgeon.
Yes.
Dr. Ben Carson, it's an honor. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Where are you? Where are you calling from?
I am actually right here in Florida.
Oh, okay. Oh, you can't tell because it's yeah. You got to be secret about that. Well, thank you for being on the air. What a nice invitation we got from somebody to speak to you this morning. So
From
it's an
Tammy.
honor. So I have something I want to tell you that I wonder if anybody else has told you this before. You're the only candidate that I've ever known that has been truly nominated by the people. Most of the time, people throw their own hat in the ring, and then they call it a nomination. But you didn't even have an interest. You wrote this wonderful book about the Constitution and suddenly, and about America, but now, gosh, you might be the next president.
Well, I really didn't think about it seriously when people first started clamoring for me to do this. I said, come on, this is silly, and it'll die down. But it didn't. It kept building, and then I started receiving all these petitions, 5,000 petitions every week. I have hundreds of thousands of petitions saying, you got to run for president.
And did it all stem from the book One Nation?
Well, it really stemmed from the National Prayer Breakfast in 2013.
Oh.
That was the thing that really put me on the stage nationally.
Wow. Do you know, when you're speaking to talk radio audiences, I think you're speaking to your people for the most part, because these are people, A, who get it, who understand that we're supposed to be following something called the Constitution, and so I think you're really speaking to the right people. By going to the Villages, you're hitting the demographic that might not have heard of you yet.
Well, actually, the last time I went to the Villages with One Nation, I mean, it was an overwhelming crowd of people, so I suspect it'll be very similar this time. And it's really the older demographic, I think, that is even more concerned. One of the things that I found is going around the country, red states, blue states, north, south, east, west, so many elderly people saying that they had given up on America and they were waiting to die. And I said, how did we get to this point?
That's awful. That's awful.
And it's really because we have become lax And our founders stated very specifically that if the people were not vigilant, the government would do what governments always do. They would grow, they would infiltrate, they would dominate.
Absolutely,
so
yeah.
It's our responsibility to understand our Constitution and to force our representatives to uphold it.
I like somewhere where I read that you said that understanding the Constitution is not brain surgery. And it's coming from somebody like you. That's a cool. That's a cool line.
Humor. I love that.
Well, that's because so many people said, "Well, how can you're a brain surgeon? You can't write about the Constitution. You have to be a constitutional lawyer." That's a bunch of garbage.
That is a bunch of garbage. Absolutely, yeah.
It was written at an 8th grade level. If a brain surgeon can't understand it, we're in big trouble.
What is so hard to understand about Congress shall establish no religion, or however it's worded? How does that mean separation of church and state? How did that ever happen?
Well, distortions. But, there is nothing in the Constitution about separation of church and state. That was a Supreme Court ruling several decades ago that established that. But, it's not separation of church or people from God. It's a separation of the church from running the government or the government from running the church. And that's what people forget about. They think it means God's got to be out of everything. And our founders were very specific about the fact that you're perfectly capable and you have a right to live according to your faith.
Do you know what drives me nuts is when somebody who doesn't believe in God says you're just not thinking critically. They accuse us who do believe in God of not thinking critically. I've thought about this a lot in my lifetime, and I'm betting you have too.
Yes, I have. And, what they don't realize is that they have faith also. They just don't have faith in God. But everybody's faith determines how they relate to the exterior world. And if that faith is just in yourself and you think that you are the end-all when it comes to what's right and wrong, I certainly don't want to be subjected to you.
This has really catapulted you, and we had some quotes from you, gosh, before I really got to know you, but I just said to Robin when we were doing these quotes, I said, whoever this guy is, I love what he's saying. So I think the natural elevation of your role as just somebody who was saying some really profound things to this point where everybody knows your name, except for those guys at the assisted living facility yesterday.
Yeah, they're very comfortable yesterday.
Robin and I play music, just so you know. And so we played yesterday at an assisted living facility, and we were excited. We said, hey, tomorrow morning we're going to speak to Dr. Ben Carson. Mm-hmm. Ben Casey? I said to Robin, thank goodness he's going to the Villages.
Right.
I think it'll be a little better than that.
What you're doing, sir, is you're paving the way for the ordinary people of the world to take a stand about everything now, because in earlier times they had trust in the people that were running, and they thought the people that got elected would do the right thing. But now you're really enabling people to have their own voice and to stand up for what they believe in.
Exactly right. That is so important. And, my candidacy is really a candidacy for the people and to restore the people to the pinnacle where they belong. The government is only there to facilitate life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, not to dictate to us. And, that was so vividly demonstrated by the so-called Affordable Care Act, where the government comes along and says, I don't care what you people think. This is what we're doing. We're cramming it down your throat, and if you don't like it, too bad. And we accept that. That is the beginning of the alteration of what America is, and that's why I came out so strongly against it.
Can I ask kind of a Barbara Walters kind of a question?
Sure.
If you're elected president, how will the country be different in 4 years?
Well, for one thing, we won't be spending what we don't have. I will make a definitive declaration immediately that there will be no signing of a raising of the debt ceiling, that we will be looking at our budget at the beginning of the cycle, not waiting until our backs are against the wall and somebody has a gun to the head, so either you raise it or we default. So we will be thinking proactively. We will have a military that takes the back seat to no one. Because if we don't get the military right, nothing else will be right. We will begin to think about the things that affect our security, like the electrical grid, and we will harden that grid, and we will have private-public sector combinations that will allow us to completely have a safe energy system across this nation. We will get back into space, recognizing that a lot of innovations came through the space program, including your cell phone. And in the future, he who controls space controls the Earth. We cannot afford to be behind in that kind of thing.
Wow, that's awesome. The book that you're going to be signing copies of, that's down in the villages?
Yeah, it'll be in the villages. And also, I think I'm going to be at Barnes & Noble on Old Camp Road in Orlando at 8 p.m. at Books A Million. Okay,
the Old Camp Road address is in the villages for those who are local, and down in Kissimmee or Orlando is the Books A Million. Unless my notes are wrong.
No,
you probably
right.
know better than I do.
Well,
I don't sit there.
Robin takes care of me. I know what I know because Robin gives me notes. But
do you think the founding fathers would be happy with the way the government is today, because they were super smart men?
They were incredibly smart men. I think some of them were geniuses, and they would be horrified with what's going on right now. But, Thomas Jefferson said it best. He said we would reach this point because the people would become lackadaisical and not be paying attention, but that just before we turned into another form of government, the people would awaken, realize what was going on, rise up, and regain control. And I'm hoping that that's what's about to happen now.
So I can't remember if it was Teddy Roosevelt, but there's that saying, speak softly and carry a big stick.
Yes.
You epitomized that.
Well, thank you. A lot of people think that because I speak softly that I'm not tough. They don't know anything about me. They make wrong assumptions based on that.
But do you embrace all generations? I mean, you and your wife created the Carson Scholars Fund to recognize the achievements of the young people. You relate to the geriatric population and everybody in between.
Absolutely. That's what America is about. And what we need to recognize is we only have 330 million people. And we have to compete against China and India, who have over 1 billion people each. That means we have to be concerned about all of our people. We have to develop all of our people. We have to take care of all of our people, or we're not going to be able to compete well into the future.
I know you have to go. I want to say this, that whether you win the presidency or not, you have already contributed to us all, simply by saying the things you're saying, by publishing the books you've published. You're one of the few people who actually is making a difference already. You don't have to be elected to make that difference, but if you're elected, I think you will follow through on what you predicted would be the end result of the 4 years that you would be in there, or 8.
Yes.
Well, I do believe that together, which is the way it is supposed to be done, we can really strengthen things, and I'm actually looking forward to doing that.
All right, we went a minute over, so I think the Secret Service has a pair of scissors. They're ready to cut the wire, I'm pretty sure. Dr. Ben Carson, what an honor to be able to say hi to you. Enjoy Florida. Do you live in Florida somewhere? No.
I do. I live in West Palm Beach.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I'm a Florida resident.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Well, thank you for coming up to our part of the state, and especially thank you for being on this radio show.
And if people want to find out what's going on, BenCarsonBook.com. That has the full schedule.
Okay, BenCarsonBook.com. And just to repeat, Ben will be Dr. Carson. I can't call you Ben yet.
No.
After a few more interviews, then I'll call you Ben.
All right.
In the Villages today at 4:30. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
All right, we will be right back. That was awesome. We'll take a little break. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident on this Monday. It'll be partly sunny, very warm and humid with a high of 86 to 90.